We have just unboxed the Husqvarna Viking Onyx 30, and now we're going to work through the accessories and show you exactly how to wind a bobbin, how to thread the machine, where to put all these accessories, and get you started. Hi, I'm Sarah from sewingmastery.com, where we do free video tutorials on so many different sewing machines, sergers, and embroidery machines. Plus, we have online courses, and I'll reference a couple of them throughout this time, where you could master even more about this machine because it has so many great decorative stitches and accessory feet, such as most of the Viking feet that are for all the top-end models will fit this machine. And there is so much potential. Our main one is the Husqvarna Viking Stitching Cosmos online course, where you'll get to use accessories and stitches, and this machine can handle all of it. Make sure as you're watching, if you have watched one of our videos, all you have to do to say thank you for the information is click that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll keep you up to date with all the latest machines. Plus, in the description below, we're going to link some quality threads, some needles, and things that will be helpful for your machine if you don't have a store close by and you want to get some of the things that I'm showing or talking about. Remember, quality items are going to make your sewing journey so much more smooth. So start off on the right foot, get some good quality newer thread, and you and your new Onyx 30 are going to have a great time together. Let's start with some of the accessories that come with it. And the first thing, this little card was in the bottom of the accessory box that goes around the free arm. So pull it out, because there is a small little holder that comes in the accessory bag. If you put it on like this, there is a hole on the top of the machine where you can set this, and it's a reference guide for different weights of fabric, how to set up your machine for different techniques. And we'll go through these on one of our upcoming videos of how to read this and how to know like which foot to put on for which fabric and which technique. Your book will also explain these symbols, but I love to walk you through because it is actually quite helpful, and it has a place where it can live. You just have to take that off when you put your cover over it or you travel somewhere and carry it with the built-in handle. We have needles that will get you started with this machine, including a stretch needle, a jeans needle, and 3 sizes of universal needles. So your needles are defined by the type of fabric you're using. So each fabric has a needle that is going to make the best stitch. Make sure that you're looking for needle information when you're trying fabric that you've never used before. Always appreciate a seam ripper, and on the other side, a brush. So we'll be cleaning our machine as well, showing you how to take care of it, and then how often you should go see your local service center at your Husqvarna Viking store. A lot of other stores will offer service on all brands of machines. That is legit too. We say have your machine serviced once a year so it stays in top running condition. And these feet are in no particular order. This is a buttonhole foot. So there is multiple buttonhole styles in here. I'll show you how to do buttonholes. We have foot E. Is actually a zipper foot, you know, with all the bags that are so trendy right now to be making. A zipper foot is key, and you actually attach it either on the left or the right side, depending on what side of the zipper insertion you are doing at that step. So some days I have it attached to one side, but then I flip it over and do the other side. For you quilters, look what comes with this machine, a 1/4 inch foot. So 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch single needle position, and markings so you can stop, turn your corners, and be a 1/4 inch before your starting point or a 1/4 inch from your ending point. So all those marks are very, very handy. Do you just notice I'm putting them in the accessory part in the front? You can put some of them in the back as well, and they'll stay all within the machine. Your standard foot A is on the machine, and it will actually show you with the stitch you pick which foot you'll be using. So always follow along. So if you pick a stitch and it says foot J or foot B, like this one's foot B, then switch it around so you have the right foot on for the stitch. This foot has a nice cutout. You'll see this selected for a lot of the decorative stitches as well. So anything thicker will not pile up as you stitch. It will flow right out the back because of that extra groove on the underneath side of the foot. Foot J, by the way, that was one I picked here, is actually an overlock foot. So if you don't have a serger, this is your serger foot. If you do have a serger, but it has a different thread color on it, maybe it has black and you just need white and you only need to go a little distance, you have a foot you can just reach for, and multiple stitches that are stretchy and overlock. That will be a nice substitute for your serger. So I always like this foot close by because you never know when you need it. A blind hem foot, foot D, is also included. And for those bags that I'm seeing more and more people doing, this is a non-stick foot. So if you're working with any faux leather or vinyl, this foot is actually what will keep it from sticking, and this will just slide along the fabric. So if you're working with any of those unique fabrics, slip this foot on your machine and you don't have to use like the tissue paper or something that would make the metal foot not stick. This is the correct foot. With this machine, you have 4 bobbins. One's already in here, 3 additional ones. These are your traditional class 15 clear bobbins. And don't be afraid that it's plastic versus a metal bobbin. It really is just holding your thread. What is key is that this machine is preset for the tension of a lighter bobbin. So if you do put in a metal bobbin instead, metal bobbins are heavier, you're actually kind of fighting the setting for the thread tension to be absolutely correct, because this machine is weighted for the lighter weight bobbin. So these are very inexpensive. You can find them in lots of places, and I'll put a link to bobbins in the description below. A couple more things. You do have a vertical spool pin and a little felt pad. Sometimes when you are using a certain spool of thread, you should put it on this way and have it spin off the edge versus laying it down. Depends on the thread. Of course, this guy goes into the same hole that we used for the little holder for this information. So that's a universal port at the top if you're using the vertical spool holder. Of course, I do use this like when I use a twin needle or double needle. That's an easy place to put that second spool of thread. Spool caps. Spool caps are designed big and small. This way, if you put a spool on horizontal, which is where it should go because it is a cross wound thread. You can see, if you see little X's on your thread, it is designed to be laid down and the thread coming right off the end. You'll find that your spool cap fits perfectly on here. You just have to make sure you don't leave a gap. The gap will sometimes find the thread in between and get tight and pull, and that's not what you want. You'll break your needle, get real tight stitches. It's not pretty. So make sure when you are using a spool cap, you push it nice and snug against the spool. And if you have a smaller spool or smaller diameter, then the small cap would then fit that spool better. And the last accessory we have is actually a screwdriver, short. So the screws on the throat plate right here that we loosen when we take this off and clean down below. We find that lint from our fabric and our thread, batting, fleece, all that fuzzy fabrics you might be working with is going to gather down here. You do need to get in with that brush, clean it out. Don't use any canned air. We don't want to push it in. If anything, you want to suck it out with a small vacuum cleaner or a brush. And this is our tool to get those screws on and off easily. It can also assist with tightening your needle screw right here. So if you need a little help, make sure you don't tighten that too tight. You can over tighten this over time. That's not good, but you need it snug, so enough that your needle doesn't fall out. All right, all the tools are safely stowed and we are ready to wind a bobbin. Let's use the bobbin that came with the machine. Take your index finger and push on the black area to the right, it will pop up this little door. I'm also going to lift up the presser foot because it came down when the machine was unboxed. So we'll lift that up. This just slides back in and out very easily. I'm just going to take this off so it's out of our way while winding a bobbin. You could leave it on, but for today, that's going to be easier for me. Take your spool, slide it on. Let's take that spool cap and actually slide it in place. Make sure there's no gap so it doesn't get caught. And for winding a bobbin, our first guide here, you're going to see it's labeled number 1, and it will be used for both our sewing, if we're threading for sewing, as well as threading for a bobbin. But next you're going to see the dotted lines is the path for winding a bobbin. Also notice this picture reminds us that we want to come around this pre-tensioner. You're going to need to pull it in, click it in, so it goes underneath this little spring and around all the way so it can head over to the bobbin winder. Make sure it gets underneath there. That's what makes a bobbin wind with a nice consistent thread and not too loose. So if you have a bobbin that's wound very loosely or very kind of squishy, it's just the thread didn't get underneath the pre-tensioner when you went around this area. At this point, we see the picture shows us to take our thread up through the hole from the inside out and set it on the bobbin winder. Push the bobbin to the far side, and that will engage the bobbin winding mechanism. At this point, just hold the thread and step on your foot control. See how it's winding nice and smooth, up and down, no like loops, and you can keep winding till this breaks or just take a small pair of scissors and clip it short. You don't want any tail coming out of that hole. That might interfere with the way the stitch is made when we put the bobbin in the machine. If the machine is not running as fast as you think it should, see if the speed control has been brought to the slow side and speed it up. When the bobbin is full, it will stop spinning. I'm going to go ahead and stop it a little early and cut my thread. If you look at the bobbin case door, it shows us which way the bobbin needs to drop in to be threaded correctly. You can see that it needs to come off the left side, and here's the trick, is if you take your bobbin, which you just wound, lift straight up and drop it straight in, this is the correct way. Now, if you have a bobbin that you've wound earlier and it's just in your drawer, you'll need to look, hold it in your hand so the thread comes off the left side, then drop it straight in. You'll also notice there are some arrows that once you put the bobbin in, place the thread underneath this black finger that's sticking out. I like to put my finger on the bobbin, hold it, so when I pull in the direction of the arrow, it clicks in. You'll feel a little resistance, and you are actually placing the thread in the bobbin tension area. And as I follow that all the way around, there is a little cutter right down here. So when you pull, it cuts the perfect length of thread that when we finish threading the machine, we don't have to bring that bobbin thread up. We can just start to sew, and it'll bring the thread up on the first stitch. We are done with the pre-tension area, so take the thread out of it, and now you'll follow the solid lines and numbers as we go from 1, around the back at 2, straight down here at 3, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to hold the thread at the back and in the front, and I want you to pull down with a little pressure, even floss the machine a little bit. There are tension discs right here, and you need to make sure you seat the thread all the way down in that area. Sometimes I'll even come under here at 4, then do it, and you really can feel that you have threaded it with purpose. If you've ever been sewing and had big hairy loops on the back of your fabric, it's usually, Well, I can tell you, it's not a bobbin problem. It's just that the top thread is not in the tension discs. So by rethreading the machine all the way back from back here, you will usually get it fixed by just rethreading the machine. Come up at 4, come over the top and down. If this take-up lever is not at the highest position, you can touch the needle down button and touch it again, and it will bring this to the position that's easiest for it to be threaded. It's just nice and open. You don't have to manually go through that hole anymore. Come straight down. There is a guide at the edge of the housing, and then there's one guide at the top of the needle. At this point, you can even lower down the foot with the lever, and it'll put a little resistance on this thread, making it easier to catch the last guide, which is right here. It's open on the right. And now for the needle threader. So the way the needle threader works, again, make sure that your needle is at its highest position by touching that needle up down button one more time. If you've moved the handle by hand, that can actually change the location and make the needle threader actually not work. So see how I've moved it? I'm going to just touch the needle up down button and it puts it to the perfect location. So a needle threader works like this. As you pull it down, it actually swivels ahead around the needle from the back, and inside here there's a little hook. The hook is going to catch this thread and pull it all the way through. So this is how I like to teach it. Bring it down just a little bit, swoop your thread underneath the little silver arm, bring the needle threader all the way down some more, and make sure it touches the back of the needle. Then bring the thread across in the little grooves and lift up just a little bit. It's like feeding that little hook. And then as you let go, you are letting go with this hand and your left hand, so a loop of thread can be brought through. So it's a very delicate process. You can't be too firm or anything. It just down, all the way down. Then give the thread to the little hook, lift up so it kind of catches it, and then let it gently pull it out of your fingers so a loop can be pulled through. So you remember that we don't have to bring our bobbin thread up anymore. Just take your thread, lift up your foot if it was down, put it underneath the groove of the foot, which is over here kind of on the left side, and to the back. When you're ready to sew, take a piece of fabric, fold it in half. Let's just start on a straight stitch. The 2.5 is the stitch length. That's kind of a default length for when you actually turn on the machine each time. Lower down the presser foot and start to sew. Oh, sounds so pretty. When you get to the end, if you're looking for a back stitch or a reverse button, this button right here, just hold it in and then let go, and it'll start to sew forward again. And now the best part, the thread cutter. The scissor button right here at the top of the machine will cut the thread, and then you lift the foot up and slide the whole fabric out, and you are left with just the needle thread here, and both threads have been pulled to the back side and cut to a short length. Look how pretty that is. As you want to explore stitches, now that the machine is threaded, you can select stitch number, let's do a zigzag, 5. You can do stitches, and then we're going to get into, in the next video, settings, how to pick all the stitches that are beyond the first 9, 10 stitches, the stitches that are here, and how to adjust the settings for width, length, and needle position. If this video has been helpful, remember to click the like button and don't forget to subscribe to see more videos in the future.